Hey guys, this is Nate from RunDreamAchieve.com, and today's video I wanted to talk on how to use heart rate for running training. And heart rate training takes a huge burden off the athlete because you're focusing more on the effort itself and staying at that particular heart rate zone rather than considering or worrying about what pace per mile you're hitting or what kilometer per K you're hitting. So I think that if you're focusing and you're taking your direction off of worrying about splits and you're focusing mainly on just maintaining that particular heart rate zone that you need to be focused on maintaining for a certain amount of time, it takes a lot of the stress off the athlete. At least it has for me. I didn't really use heart rate monitor training until 1995 when I first got to Malone University. And when I was in high school, I was just training at particular efforts on my own, and not really knowing if I was running too fast or running too slow. And that's what's great about heart rate monitor training, and why I definitely recommend it if you're trying to run faster in 2021. Heart rate monitor training will make sure that you're running slow enough on your recovery days so that you're not running too fast on those days, and you can ensure that you're running between 130 to 150 beats per minute. Now again, heart rate also varies depending on the athlete, depends on the temperature outside. Obviously, if it's much hotter, your heart rate's going to be higher rather than as opposed to if it's really cold outside, your heart rate's really more than likely going to be a lot lower in colder temperatures rather than in the heat. And it also varies on the age of the athlete as well. We always hear a lot of times that a good estimate of getting your maximum heart rate is subtracting your age from 220. So if you're 20 years old, your maximum heart rate's right around 200 beats per minute as an estimate. But again, the key thing I want you guys to keep in mind in regards to heart rate monitor training and how to use heart rate for running training is to not get so caught up in, like, I have to wear a heart rate monitor every single day to know that I'm running at the proper intensities. That's not so much the goal, the end goal in regards to heart rate monitor training. It's mainly, especially for days like when you have to do tempo runs and you really want to make sure that you're running at a high enough anaerobic level for a long enough period of time, but at the proper intensity. Because a lot of times if you're not wearing a heart rate monitor, you can think that you're running fast, but really you're still running too slow. So, and again, with fitness comes, your heart doesn't have to work as hard, your heart rate will drop and your paces will increase. But as you get fitter, obviously your paces are going to increase, and you have to, and maintaining that same effort that you were holding early on in your training block, you may have been running a lot slower at that particular intensity because you weren't very fit. But now that you are fit, you're running at the same heart rate, but your pace is much, much faster. So heart rate monitor training obviously is not conducive for if you're doing track workouts or you're doing repeat miles on the track or repeat 2 miles on the track or 200s. They're more heart rate monitor training, in my opinion, at least what's worked for me over the years. Heart rate monitor training definitely helped me break 220 for the marathon, almost break 107, an hour and 7 minutes for the half marathon. I ran 107.06. A lot of times, I mean, the majority of times, 3 to 4 times a week, I was wearing a heart rate monitor. So, and they're really key. It's really important if you're doing a tempo run. And you need to maintain that hard effort for a long period of time, but not so hard that you're going, into oxygen debt. That's not the point of tempo runs. You already know, if you're an advanced level athlete or you've been around in the sport long enough, you know that your anaerobic threshold is really real close to right where we race at. So being able to wear a heart rate monitor, okay, I need to hold my heart rate, and again, it's going to depend on the athlete, but you want to hold your heart rate right around 88 to 92% of your maximum heart rate while you're doing an AT run. Anaerobic threshold is also known as lactate threshold running. But in terms of how to use heart rate for running training, these are the things you got to keep in mind. One, your body always adapts to the stress load you throw at it. So it takes about 3 weeks for your body to really adapt to each stress point that you're throwing at it. So if you're starting, say, your initial first 4 weeks of your training program at, say, 85% of, say you're doing mile repeats, and you're doing them at 85% of your all-out mile. So if your mile is like 420, you're going to start doing those 5 to 6 1-mile repetitions at around 505 per rep. So, and then wait and doing that for 3 weeks, and then going the next 3 weeks and then drop and taking it to 88% of your maximum mile. So it might go from 505 down to 455. So heart rate monitor training is much like periodization. Is everything is in progression. You stress the body, you rest, because the important aspects, the big bulk of your benefit comes within the rest period of your training. So it's not just the hard anaerobic workouts we're doing, or the long runs we do, or the fartlek workouts or intervals. It's that rest period. So heart rate monitor training definitely reminds us of, one, especially on easy days, if you know you need to be running easy, you can make sure that you're wearing a heart rate monitor so you're not running too fast, so you ensure that you're recovering from those hard workouts. And again, you don't need to get so attached to the heart rate monitor, but I think over time, if you use it for a given amount of time, you'll get to a point where it becomes, you know, it's more of you're running on feel. So you have an idea of, I know exactly how fast I need to be running on my easy days. And I know, based on my perceived effort, that I'm running slow enough to recover. I'm not running too fast. And because I've used the heart rate monitor over and over again, I have really taught myself that innate ability to know that I'm not running too fast or I'm running too slow and I need to speed up. So again, I never used heart rate monitor training either. Some of the best distance runners I've had the opportunity to train with and live with from Kenya and in Europe and other parts of the world, most of them used heart rate monitor training as a part of their preparation for their races. And again, they definitely, it was a big part of my preparation for training for the marathon. I always wore a heart rate monitor during my long runs, especially the harder long runs that I talk about in my videos and on RunDreamAchieve.com. I believe that if you're going to if you want to run faster at the 5K all the way up to the marathon distance, if you start running your long runs at a somewhat faster effort for a longer period of time, you're going to build that stamina and strength that you need to really succeed and really take your running to the next level. And when I was training in Colorado Springs, I always used the heart rate monitor because I knew during those harder paced long runs, I wanted to really make sure that I was training at that anaerobic effort that I needed to be at. And usually when I was very fit, I would do my heart rate. I would hold my heart rate at 160 beats per minute during those harder paced long runs, and that came out to around 85% of my maximum heart rate at the time. So, and then obviously on the alternate weekends, I would run a very relaxed long run. And I didn't always, most of the time on those relaxed long runs, I would never really use the heart rate monitor that much because I knew I was forcing myself to jog on my easy days. And that's really very critical. If you're wanting to take your running to the next level, is you have to be disciplined on those easy recovery days. It takes time. It takes time and effort for to get the big results in training, and to also back off when you know you absolutely need to. You have to push the body, but also back off and have that discipline to slow down and ensure that you're recovering. Heart rate monitor training obviously will make sure that you get the best return on your investment, because you're again focusing on perceived effort rather than splits. And trust me, as you get fitter and you've done those VO2 max workouts and you've done those anaerobic threshold runs, you've done your tempos and you've linked them out like we talk about, you've done harder paced long runs, coupled with very easy relaxed running, your heart rate's your pace is gonna get much faster running at the same effort as you did early on in your training phase. So obviously it doesn't matter if you're brand new to the sport or you're an advanced veteran. All of us, it takes time for us to recover. It takes time for us to get in great shape. And early on in any training block, your heart rate, obviously your pace while wearing a heart rate monitor is going to be very slow because you're not very fit yet. And then as you get fitter, your heart rate's going to be at the same effort, but your pace is going to be much, much faster because obviously you're much more anaerobically fit and aerobically fit. So I hope this video has been helpful for you guys. If you haven't yet subscribed, hit that subscribe button and the bell icon so when I make new videos, you'll be notified. Feel free to like, share, and comment on this video or any of my other videos. And definitely I will answer your questions if you have anything that's on your mind or any questions or concerns regarding heart rate monitor training, mindset, preparation for the 1 mile all the way up to the marathon distance. I've been training for about 28 years, and I know what you need to really focus on every event from the 1 mile all the way up to the marathon. I always had as my goal to break the 4-minute mile in high school. Never came quite that close. Ran 4:25. Ran all the way up to the marathon distance, running 2:19:35. So I do have background in this. I know what works and what doesn't work. I know the mistakes I've made, and I want to make sure that you don't make the same mistakes that I made over the years. So I wish you guys all the best. Hope you have a great week of training, and I'll talk to you guys all in the next video.